What is going on, everyone? It is Rob and Jonny. Welcome to episode 21 of the MMArcade Podcast. Rob, we've had a bit of a week or two.
Mate, it's been weird. This is technically 21-2. The second time.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
dude. Nightmare.
So last week I had nightmarish technical difficulties to try and get like the camera set up and then the lighting set up and everything. Regardless, we got there. We stayed up late. We recorded the episode, and then the episode, the internet was dropping out. It corrupted halfway through. Yeah. Jonny was trying to save it like the way, I don't know, doing his magic on the computer. I don't know, but we couldn't do it. We couldn't do it. No. We couldn't do it.
And we updated all of you in the community tab. Unfortunately, that's what happened. But we're back here now. Like, touch all the wood in the world. Hopefully this podcast records properly. And we're pretty much going to do a repeat of the podcast you missed. So you're not missing out on anything.
More or less the same.
More or less, yeah. I mean, there weren't any fights on the weekend anyway, so we didn't miss out on too much.
I know we lucked out in a sense, but I do know there are a lot of fans out there that were pining for me and Jonny's voice because it is the only noise and sound that puts them to sleep. So I'm sorry for that, but here you go.
Absolutely. And to talk about what we were talking about in the forgotten episode 21 podcast. So mainly we were talking about a bunch of huge fight announcements that were announced by Dana the other week, and we wanted to talk about those in today's episode. So Rob, let's start off talking about one of the big ones. At UFC 295, we have Jiri Prochazka, Alex Pereira set to fight for the vacant light heavyweight title as the co-main for the Jon Jones-Stipe Miocic fight, it's an interesting fight, but also what a stacked card. And do you kind of feel bad for those two fighting as a co-main?
Mate, well, it's funny. What I find funny is that we're saying the same things. So I'm like struggling to say things because I'm like, didn't I say that already? But I realize none of you have listened to it. But mate, it's the light heavyweight title is in a funny position. It's the fact that Jiri had to give it up, and then what's his name had to top of my head.
Jamal Hill.
The last guy, Jamal Hill.
Yeah.
That's it. Had to give it up. And now it's up for grabs again against Jiri and Pereira. That is going to be an interesting fight in itself. I don't want to get too much into that because that takes away my breakdown episode. But that's an interesting fight. And by all means, it would be the draw. That would be the headline of a card if Jon Jones wasn't headlining it. And to have Jon Jones in the heavyweight division headlining that card, ahead of the light heavyweight title, it's just Jon Jones is just like the big daddy of that division, of that division and the heavyweight division, isn't he? Like, just absolutely dominant in the light heavyweight division, and then moves up, and now he's like, you boys can fight over that one. I'm going to defend the big boy belt. It's just. It's a power move for sure.
For sure. It's very interesting, though. Like, I would have loved to have seen Jon Jones actually stay in that division and see some of the fights that he could have had, because he hasn't done, like, he had a great fight, obviously, against Cyril Gane, but he hasn't done all that much in heavyweight yet, has he? Like, he obviously won the title, but...
Well, he's only just come back, to be fair.
Hold on. When was his last fight? It's been a while. He goes a long time in between rings.
It was this year, wasn't it?
Like at the
I feel like
start,
it was this year.
But
that's all right. Come on, dude.
Two fights. True.
I take about a year to get in there. You know what I mean? And obviously, like, his performance, his last performance against Cyril Gane, maybe what he's doing is working. Having that proper time off, having that proper time to really get into his health and to get into his head and find that space where he performs the best. Because he ran amok on Cyril last fight. So
it was brutal.
Maybe if it ain't broke, don't fix it. He might be onto something.
And Cyril as well, obviously, just had his recent win. Like, Cyril's no pushover. It's just Jon Jones is an absolute freak, dude. You were right, by the way. It was in March of this year. It just feels like an age ago, because before that, Jones didn't fight for like years because of that whole situation.
Yeah.
But
and
it's going to be interesting.
Isn't that crazy for him to have that time off and just come back in and do what he does? But I'm looking forward to getting him in there. I do feel like he's left the light heavyweight division a bit of a mess since leaving, and just now he's the headline of the co-main, which is the title shot still.
Yeah.
And it's interesting.
I really feel like Pereira,
power play for sure.
Pereira is going to stamp his mark on the light heavyweight division again and make it great again. I really like, and I'm not saying that Jamal Hill was a bad champ by any means. Like, he's obviously a phenomenal fighter, but I really think Pereira can do great things. And just seeing him come into the sport and all he's accomplished so quickly, I'm very, very happy for him. And Prochazka it's going to be a banger. I can't wait for it. We'll save that for the breakdown episode. In a few weeks.
We will.
Next up, though, we've got UFC 296 welterweight champion Leon Edwards is making his second defense against Colby Covington. This was obviously the long-rumored title fight, and it's finally happening at UFC 296. Rob, what do you think about this one?
I'm very interested to see it happen. I know a lot of people didn't want to see Colby get in there and fight Leon, but I do. I do. I want to see. I know Leon didn't want to see it, but like, Leon's a champ. He's going to be earning pay-per-view regardless. I think he did so well against Usman last fight that I would put him as a favorite moving into this next fight with Colby. Understandably, Colby has an extra lung. Like, he is an absolute terror in there, but still, I think it's a good fight. It makes sense. Plus, let's be honest. Let's take logic out of there and just make a fight the fans want to see. The fans want to see that fight. They want to see Colby not fight Usman and fight for a title, And that's this fight.
I was one of the people that didn't want to see Covington in there, not necessarily because it wouldn't be a huge pay-per-view, because it would be. Like, he's a huge name, right? But I feel like Bilal Muhammad needed to be in the conversation, and it seems like he was just glossed over, not only by Dana, but also some of the fan base as well. Eventually, he'll get his shot, but who knows? I
do feel, though, Bilal's last fight definitely gets him in the talks and in the position that he needs to be in to make that next fight. I would have to say Bilal is next in line at the very least.
I don't know who I heard this from, but
that's what I'm thinking. Like, who's you hearing from?
I mean, like, I think I watched a video. I don't have any sources, but could Bilal be versing Usman next? Like, could that be a fight that they make before?
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Firstly, I think Usman's calling out just about anyone.
I mean, true. Yeah.
Now, like,
don't blame him.
He's calling a lot of people out. Like, there was even a rumor that he's going to go up to middleweight. And wouldn't that be interesting? Because have you seen photos of him? He's looking huge right now.
He is. I don't know.
He's got the meat on him. But yeah, I don't know, because you're right though. Colby and Leon, they're going to fight, and they're going to have time off afterwards. It's a long time out of the gate for Bilal, if that's the sort of fighter he is. He wants to get in there quickly, because I think he fought Burns probably 2 months ago. I want to say. Something like that. That's not even that long. If he gets guaranteed, maybe though, he's not getting guaranteed a title shot. He's not getting guaranteed that next contention slot, which means what's he doing? He's just sitting there. Sitting on his hands. So, it's hard to say, because it's very hard to speak, especially for me, because I understand how the division works. I understand the talks behind the curtain and how the pieces are moving, and you kind of get a say in certain things on when you want to fight or who you want to fight next or what's going on. And you see the people fight, but then all this is happening in my division, so I understand it from that perspective. But then every division has its own little scenario like this. They're all kind of just like moving chess pieces.
Yeah.
And, they're all talking to the matchmakers, and the matchmakers are talking to them, and they're telling them what's up. But, it'd be very interesting to listen to that.
Yeah. So, like, I was kind of having a think about it. So Bilal, I would say, even right now, has earned and deserves his shot at the title. And obviously it would be against the winner of Edwards and Covington. It's a very similar position that Gaethje is in, obviously, because Makhachev is versing Oliveira. And I would say Gaethje is next in line. But when will Gaethje fight? Because Makhachev could fight Volk after that if they get their stuff sorted. Makhachev threw out the random thing about I might want to fight Covington if he wins. So it's just it's all up in the air. I have no idea what's going on in UFC anymore.
Yeah. And mate, that's tricky because you see, if Volk wants that fight, he's kind of earned it. He's kind of earned.
Yeah. And we all want to see it too. He's kind of
earned. Yeah. He's kind of earned that weight in trying to pull fights, right? But then Makhachev winning this fight again, especially after the way he did it the first time, it gives him some weight to wanting to move up.
Yeah.
Especially because he's already fought Volk. It's such a tricky place to try and pin down fights.
Yeah.
Hypothetical matchmaking's tough.
As an aside, and we're not going to do the breakdown now, obviously, but I cannot wait to see Makhachev and Oliveira. Makhachev is talking a huge, huge game, and naturally so. He should be very confident. He's earned that. But I think we're going to see a different Oliveira for that fight. So I can't wait till we actually talk about that one. Next one.
Can I say?
Yeah.
Oliveira coming back from losses is like one of my big inspirations because like I'm the sort of guy that after a loss gets back to the training floor, puts some pieces together, tries new things, and comes back better.
Yeah.
And like that's. I really live in that mentality and I live in that space. But it seems like no one does it better than Oliveira, right? Like he shakes off a loss and comes back stronger, better than ever.
And he did it against Dariush. Like that was meant to be the next guy, right? So there was no pushover dude. And he smacked him. So we'll save it for the breakdown episode, but I'm low-key very excited for that one. The next fight that we can talk about quickly is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson fighting Shavkat Rakhmonov. Interesting one at welterweight. I don't know why Stephen Thompson took this fight because Shavkat is a freak, and I worry he's going to lose. But apparently that's the thing. That's going to be a fight as well.
Well, I'm a guy that finds it very hard to ever bet against Stephen Thompson. He's just such an elusive fighter, and he's so good at. He can win in an exciting fashion, but he can also just win. He's very good at just winning. Like he's got the perfect style for it. And now he's fighting an up and comer. One of the biggest threats in the division at the moment. And I don't know. You would have to think. Obviously, this is Shavkat's chance to solidify his spot along the elite, along the top dogs, right? Yeah. But this might also, on the other side of the fence, which maybe is why Stephen's entertaining the fight, is just that if he beats Shavkat, he's still in talks. He's still right there. He's obviously hunting for bigger things. And I guess this is one of those pivotal moments for both guys. A pivotal moment for Wonderboy and for Shavkat, because one gets pushed into the elite group and one gets pushed back into the talks of title contention potentially.
Yeah.
Like I still got this. I'm still here. I'm still hunting.
Yeah. I would say Shavkat probably has less to lose than Wonderboy, because if he loses, it's his first loss. He's on the 17-win streak. He'll easily get back into that. He can work
his way back in.
Yeah, 100%. Whereas with Wonderboy, I think he doesn't have that kind of direct route again. But that one's going to be an interesting fight, and we still got a few more to talk about. I want to find out how old Wonderboy Thompson is, because how old is he?
Pretty sure he's a vampire. Pretty sure he's a vampire.
He doesn't age. He
is 40.
Oh my God. I was going to say 38 and I've been way off.
He is 40. Okay. Yeah. He looks the same. Like he's a
honestly,
vampire.
Dude.
I'm pretty sure he's a vampire. So obviously, I doubled down on what I said before. He's fighting Shavkat. He beats Shavkat. He has one last shot. He fights. He's not going to get him a title shot right now, but it gets him in the talks of fighting who? Usman fighting.
Look, I would say
Muhammad maybe.
Yeah, if Muhammad doesn't immediately get a title opportunity and he decides to wait it out, maybe Usman. Yeah, I think that would be an interesting fight. Next fight that we have to talk about, and I want to tell a quick backstory behind this. When we started recording, or before we started recording last week's episode, I told Rob about this fight, and he had no idea that the fight was announced. You should have seen his reaction. Paddy Pimblett, Tony Ferguson, announced to be fighting. Rob, tell it like it is. What do you reckon of this fight?
Oh, mate, I don't know. I think me and a lot of other UFC fans, especially fans of Tony Ferguson, because I'm a fan of Tony Ferguson, right?
Yeah.
We thought his last fight was his last fight. Like, that's what it looked like. It's not like he's been on an incline or he's been just getting beaten or he's been having tight fights but losing just somehow. It hasn't been that way. And honestly, the Tony Ferguson I saw last time in the octagon was just one that, I don't know, doesn't look like he has it anymore.
No.
And don't get me wrong. I want to be wrong. I told you, I'm a fan of Tony Ferguson. I want to be wrong. I want to see him come back into this fight with Paddy, put on a clinical Tony Ferguson performance and move from there. But for a few fights now, we haven't seen the same Tony. We haven't. I don't know what's changed, but we don't see that same Ferguson that was an absolute nightmare in the division.
Yeah.
And Paddy, taking a fight against Tony Ferguson. Paddy, one of the fastest rising stars of the game, and then fastest dropping stars of the game, falling stars of the game. Like, it's crazy. This fight, this fight's great for that reason. Like, I think people are going to watch it because of that reason. It's like, and you know what? I think Tony could beat Paddy.
He could.
Like,
he absolutely could.
Even the Tony we saw last time, I think, could beat Paddy, because I do think Paddy was overhyped for his skill set. I think he still needed, which is fine, because there are a lot of guys in the UFC that get into the UFC and have to develop their skill sets and develop their caliber as they go along. That's just the nature of the game. You don't need to start the UFC as a beast. Problem was his mouth. He was running his mouth, and he was he was acting like he was already the best, when obviously we saw some things that suggested you still got to work on some things, you know. But I don't know. I'm interested in this fight. I'm going to tune in. I don't know. I do hope we see a good showing of Tony Ferguson, and then he retires, if he doesn't come out and just flash knock him out in 2 seconds or something like that.
So I hate to be the bearer of news, but Tony has pretty much been like, I'm going to keep fighting regardless of the result. He said something along those lines. He just wants to keep going and going and going, and maybe until his body doesn't let him do it anymore. I really hope Tony wins. I think he has a path to be able to win against Paddy, but obviously the favorite person to win this one is Paddy. I will say, though, about Paddy, I don't begrudge him for being a talker. Like, it makes stuff like this interesting. Yeah, he's fallen down a little bit. And yeah, maybe his skill set didn't match his mouth. But at least it makes things a little bit fun. Like, this is an interesting fight. Like, this is like WWE matchups. You know what I mean? This is what it feels like.
Yeah. I feel like, though, you can be a talker with some humility.
I agree.
Like Conor did it so well, because he was a charismatic mastermind, right? But also his skill sets were top tier. His striking is still some of the best the game's seen. So his timing is just uncanny.
Yeah, 100%.
So, I don't know.
So it's going to be a fun one.
Still excited about.
Yeah. And the last one that we have to talk about, Rob, in your division, Jared Cannonier and Roman Dolidze have agreed to a fight on UFC Fight Night, December 2, I think, or something like that. What do you think of this one, Rob? Because he called you out and then Cannonier.
He did. He did. I was interested in fighting Roman, but just the timelines didn't quite work out. I kind of rushed into my last fight, and I don't want to rush into this next one, just because I want this next one to be a statement-making fight. I want to get in there, and I want to really cement the fact that I'm coming in here for with all the chips. The cards are down, sort of thing. I want to go in there and send a letter to the rest of the division that I'm going to be the next guy with the gold wrapped around his waist. And I don't want to rush that. I want it to be perfect. I want to come back perfect cell sort of thing.
I like that reference. It's going to be a fun fight for sure. We've already tried to play matchmaker. We're not going to do it again with the middleweight division. But it will make things very interesting if Cannonier does win, I think. But Rob, that's pretty much all the fight news that we had to talk about, all the big announcements that we already talked about in last week's Forgotten podcast. Unless you had anything else UFC related, I think we can move on to the game's news.
That is the hottest news at the moment. Looking forward to some big fights moving up, but let's jump into some game talk.
And it can be melded in with what we're playing as well, because the big news that in the past week was definitely the launch of Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty and also Update 2.0. So Update 2.0 came out first. That was the free update. Essentially the overhaul of Cyberpunk that we'd been waiting for a little bit. Bunch of changes, especially with regards to combat, new police system, vehicle changes, combat AI enhancement. There's also perk and skill changes. Completely overhauling that system, and you do get a free reset if you were to keep playing with your old character. But CD Projekt Red were like, nah, we'd actually suggest you start a new character for this one because there are so many changes, and we want you to be able to experience them all. Pretty much what they were implying as you naturally progress through that perk tree or that skill tree. So a bunch of changes with Update 2.0, and then obviously Phantom Liberty dropped paid DLC, but a lot of people have picked it up. Kind of like a spy thriller. You have to try and save the president of the NUS. I played a little bit of it. I'd be keen to get your thoughts on it, Rob, because I know that... Did you actually end up playing Phantom Liberty a little bit? I know that you got back into it with Update 2.0, but...
Yeah, so I've played tons of Cyberpunk 2.0. Okay, I haven't actually started Phantom Liberty yet, like the DL portion of the game, because... I started from the beginning and I'm just not up to it.
Fair enough.
I'm a bit of a slow burner with these sort of games.
Yeah.
And I'm the sort of guy like with Skyrim or with any other sort of free roaming sandboxy game, as soon as you get through the tutorial, you start the main mission, this person's there, you're like, yeah, no worries, I'll be back. Then I duck off for about 7.5 years. Okay, and during this time, I'm grinding, I'm leveling, I'm getting missions, I'm getting houses, I'm getting cars, and I'm just looping up so that when I do these high-profile missions and the big boss comes out of nowhere, I'm like a god and I can smack him around. I like it. I like running through the story campaigns overpowered.
Yeah.
Not cheated overpowered. I don't like cheating, but I like having spent 24 hours grinding the same loop of enemies to become strong, to get in there and run amok on people. It just makes me feel good.
The line gets blurry between what's cheating and taking advantage of a legitimate in-game mechanic. You know what I mean? Like, depends on what your perspective is.
No, Johnny. No, Johnny.
Yeah, it does, Rob.
Don't look at me with your sly eyes,
I'm telling you.
Don't look at me like you're trying to lure me into the dark side. You know what's cheating, and I'll point to everybody watching this as well.
Okay.
You know when you're cheating, okay? Because you feel a little guilty inside, but you push it down. And the more you do it, the less you feel it, but it was there, and you know it was there. Okay, everyone knows.
I guess. But so I was playing Cyberpunk 2077 Update 2.0 and Phantom Liberty. Didn't end up finishing it because I do want to start a new game. Shout out to Nvidia. They actually sent me an RTX 4090 to be able to make a video about Cyberpunk 2077 and cover all of the changes, especially when it comes to DLSS 3.5, ray reconstruction, full ray tracing. Dude, when I was playing the game on that graphics card, it is really a sight to behold. I hope everyone in their life gets the opportunity to see. Obviously, you could probably play the game at 4K, ray tracing, ultra, but to be able to see that at a high frame rate, it's just gorgeous. I think it's fair to say that Cyberpunk 2077 is probably one of the most pretty video games ever released. And I know that's a big statement, but it has to be up there. This thing is absolutely gorgeous. The character models, the particle effects, even like chromatic aberration with all the neon lights coming in. Usually I turn that stuff off in games, but with 2077, just beautiful. I can't wait to. That's going to be the next big game that I do a playthrough of and just dedicate 100+ hours to. It is phenomenally looking, and I can't wait to actually play Phantom Liberty properly again as well.
Yeah, Cyberpunk. They've been, and I've got to give it to Project Red. The launch was rough, and even they've admitted that, but they have constantly worked on it, and they've been adding new updates. Like a big one was 1.6 when they added some new things and some new like relationship mechanics, so that when you start a relationship with someone, like there's texts now, you can text each other, and it just adds another layer of immersion. They added new things with the cars, and then 2.0 has just redone the game. 2.0 is great. If you're a Cyberpunk fan and you played Cyberpunk beforehand, do 2.0. 2.0 does change a lot of things. There's a lot of new things with the cars. There's vehicular combat now. There's a lot of new cars. The cars have guns now. It's so good. And they completely overhauled the perk system. The perk system is so much more fun to play with. It's so much more streamlined.
Yeah.
So like you don't have to dip like your toes in the cool. You don't have to dip your toes in the reflex. You don't have to, just to get all those perks. Like cool was useless before. All it did was increase percent chance to crit. Like it wasn't fun. It wasn't cool.
Yeah.
It's its own skill tree. A lot of these skill trees now, these build paths feel like they have an impact in your build progression. And as a build hoe myself, I love that. I love building characters. And heads up for anyone starting the game from a save file. So I started from a save file, even though I know I want to start a new one, because I had a character that was just past the tutorial that I went and did a bunch of grinding on, then gave up. Haven't done any of the main missions, but I don't want to do the tutorial again. I'm sick of it.
Fair enough.
You only get one reroll attributes thing. One. Only one.
Use it wisely.
Hard save that. Hard save that. And then, muck around. You only get one. Use it wisely. You can refund perk points, but one attribute one. So make it count.
We were saying last week you can completely max out 3 attributes and then do a bit of 2.
I think you get about 66 points.
Yeah. So you definitely want to be careful.
Starting bases.
For sure. It's just I
Every
love
base starts at 3, I think.
Yeah, I love a good feel-good story in the games industry, and it's just nice to see after, as you mentioned, the rough launch that CDPR had with this game, for them to actually, I would safely say, like they have the game that they wanted to release at launch. If everything in a perfect world went smoothly, and it's honestly it's a little bit sad that there's not going to be DLC after this because they're probably moving on to The Witcher or something like this after that.
Yeah, it is sad because this Cyberpunk's great. And if you're worried about the difficulty curve of it, it's not hard.
No.
It's not hard at all.
No.
It's really easy just to get in there. Like literally I'm just running around punching dudes in the face. like it is not hard. I don't even put my perk points in most of the time. Like I just run around punching dudes and it's fine. It's fine. Like there's no problemo.
The way you play games, man, I swear. But
my first run was like a full net hacker, and it was like my take on a wizard in Cyberpunk, and it was so much fun. I don't know if I'll get the same highs with the revamped quick hacks trees, but back in the day, you used to be able to like stand outside the building, and you ping the security camera on the outside. It would ping every enemy in the building, and then you do contagion, and it would just go throughout the entire
That's
building.
ridiculous.
Wouldn't even have to walk in there, dude.
Ridiculous.
Like, it was so
dude.
good.
Doesn't make any
so
sense.
Good, dude. Yeah, I'm not gonna be able to get that sort of high.
Well, let me know how you go. Like when you eventually reach Phantom Liberty, I would be interested to know what you think of the expansion because Idris Elba is in there as well. Apparently, it's pretty good. So I'm looking forward to eventually completing it. But Rob, that's, again, it was kind of the games news, but also what we've been playing. We can go into that further a little bit more. Have you been playing anything else recently?
I have. So I've been playing Baldur's Gate 3 still. Okay.
Of course.
So I've been torn between Cyberpunk and Baldur's Gate 3 because there's such big genre shifts that like I want to play Baldur's Gate. But if I'm playing Cyberpunk, I don't feel like fantasy. And if I'm playing Baldur's Gate, I don't feel like sci-fi. Like it's weird. It's messing with my head if I'm going to be honest. Right. So I end up just playing a little game that I call Noita. Okay.
See if I can spell that.
To everybody out there, comment below if you understand the game Noita, if you've played the game Noita. That is a hard game, dude. That is a hard game.
It looks like a hard game. It is. Deceptively.
It is.
Yeah.
It is so much fun, though. It's the type of game where you're like, just one more run.
Yeah.
Like, I'll get the next one. And I've got to say, 95% of my deaths on this game, Noita, have been because of myself. Like things that I've done to myself, like trying out a new untested wand that I've never tried before and ends up killing me, or trying a wand with a spell that like it has a sort of reaction to another spell that I didn't see coming and it kills me, or I just play poorly. Like, yeah, it is a crazy. So it's a game where it's like a 2D side scroller, right?
Yeah,
not side scroller because you go up and down.
Yeah,
but essentially you get spells and you put the spells into the wands, and the different combinations, so like the way you put your spells in your wand, change the outcome of the spell. So it's like if you've got like projectile increase and then put a projectile after it, it increases the projectile's shot. And there's a lot of different modifiers like that, like 2 times or weird angles or returning warps, like different things like that. There's heaps, there's hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And you can make some really absurd combinations with these wands. Right, like I've seen some things on YouTube where guys use these wands and the entire screen turns to dust. Like it is unreal. I don't even know how they get to that level because I can't do anything. I'm useless in this bloody game. But I've been playing that a lot. It's
bloody YouTubers, man. They always know the guides and the things to do.
Fun. I really think you should give it a sus. I recommend it to anyone.
All right,
because it's fun.
Fair.
If you're a sucker for punishment, it's fun.
So aside from that, it's been Baldur's Gate 3 pretty much, hey?
That's it. There isn't much else. There hasn't been much time for anything else. I've been just training.
Yeah.
Been pumping iron, wrestling, rolling,
making me feel
punching.
guilty. I personally, so I got a review code for Assassin's Creed Mirage. And actually, by the time this podcast episode drops, it'll be about 30 minutes or so after my review on my channel comes out. So that's when the embargo actually lifts. So Assassin's Creed Mirage, I've kind of hinted at before. It's a prequel to Valhalla in a sense. You play as Basim, which is one of the characters introduced in that game. It's a smaller, more condensed video game. Not selling it full price. It's a bit cheaper. It's like anywhere from 20 to 30 hours of gameplay, depending upon how much loot you want to collect and how comprehensive you want to take it. But I've been really, really enjoying it. The main takeaway for me for this game is that I think for the past few Assassin's Creed games that we've gotten, so Origins, Valhalla, Odyssey, those kinds of games. Those games haven't really been Assassin's games. And I really liked Origins. I really liked Valhalla. I didn't actually end up playing Odyssey because I don't know, the vibe of it, the theme of it just didn't, vibe with me well. But when I got to the end of Valhalla, I was like, all right, I need an actual Assassin's Creed game about playing as an assassin. And that's exactly what Mirage is providing you. Like you can go through any map, any base, any area of the map and go unseen, sneak by, kill everyone and complete the mission. Like direct combat is actually not your primary weapon. You have smoke bombs, blow darts, traps, throwing knives using a hidden blade. You got eagle vision so you can see where enemies are. You have an eagle that you can throw out beforehand and tag enemies for you. And then you have this really cool thing called Assassin's Focus, which lets you chain together multiple assassinations almost instantaneously. Like this game does what the original games introduced and just enhances it tenfold. I actually think that this is one of the definitive ways of experiencing Assassin's Creed as a franchise because there's so many titles in there now. This is peak Assassin style gameplay in Assassin's Creed. And I think if anyone is like looking to get back in Assassin's Creed, this is perfect for you because it's a short experience as well. And even if you're new to the franchise, this is probably the best game to play because you're playing it with updated graphics. You're not playing an old title that's a little bit dated like Assassin's Creed 1 or the Ezio trilogy. And you're experiencing all these really cool assassin style gameplay. So I actually love it, man. And it's not perfect by any means, but I've been having a blast playing Assassin's Creed Mirage.
It's funny you say that, and I'm so glad to hear that you said it's the best Assassin game, because I've been trying to work out why I haven't been able to get into these Assassin's Creed games. And given I never started from the original ones, I kind of started maybe Odyssey I did Black Flag, but I did Odyssey, and then I did Valhalla for a bit, and they just could never grab me. And you know what it was, and you said it, and I didn't realize what it was until you said it. It's that the open combat. I didn't like the open combat.
Yeah,
like you're supposed to. They have all these cool stealth mechanics and stealth animations and parkour type seniorios, and then you send me into a fight against 4 dudes where I can just perfect parry everyone because I'm a god.
100%, dude. You've absolutely nailed it. And don't get me wrong, like if you know the way the franchise has developed until that point, like when Origins came out, then Odyssey and Valhalla, like the franchise was and the formula needed a change, because I think everyone had gotten a bit tired of the regular stealthy, sneaky Assassin's gameplay in the previous games. But I think now that those 3 games are done and dusted, it's just nice to have an actual Assassin's game in the form of Mirage. So if you have a weekend free, Rob, and you don't even necessarily need to finish it, like if you can get to the stage where you have all your tools and you're going through and you're putting enemies to sleep and you're throwing a smoke bomb to get in for a quick kill, I think you'll probably enjoy this Assassin's Creed game more than any of the ones that you've played so far, for sure.
Well, I got one critical question for you, John.
Go on.
One critical question.
Tell me.
Am I still a chick in a time tube?
I don't know yet. Actually, it's a very good question because I haven't finished it yet. I've done most of I don't want to spoil it, but there's certain guys you have to take down, and then I think eventually there's like a main dude that you need to take down. So I've done most of the main guys, but I haven't reached the part of the gameplay where it tells me like who I am and, like why am I able to play as Bassam?
Yeah, that was my biggest gripe with the entire series, was like I was usually some student kid in like a time bubble, time machine, and it just killed my immersion. I'm
going to tell you though that when you start this game, yes, it puts that context. It's very subtle. It's like a 20-30 second little intro that tells you why you're able to play as Bassam, but you don't know who you are exactly.
Okay.
So you could be this cool dude. I mean, I don't know. Well, you could be a student.
Wouldn't it be a trip if you were like an assassin playing an assassin?
So, Rob, this is why I love the Ezio trilogy, because you were eventually like a proper actual assassin, going back and experiencing the memories of your ancestors who were also assassins. That's what made it cool. And then the other, like the new Assassin's Creed games, you're just playing as a random person who has nothing to do with people that you're using the memories of. So I 100% agree. You need to be an assassin in both worlds. I agree.
Yeah. Named Rob. Named Rob.
For sure. But it's good. I'm enjoying Assassin's Creed Mirage, and it's a little bit cheaper. So if you pick it up, I'm sure most people won't be disappointed. The one thing that I'll say is that there's been a bit of a debate in the games industry this week, Rob, and it's not just been because of Mirage. It's actually been more because of Marvel Spider-Man 2. People are like, 20 to 30 hour games aren't worth the money. And I'm just saying, nah, give me more of that shit, because I can't finish every 200-hour game out there. When I get a 20 to 30-hour game that I can finish within a week comfortably, I'm eating that shit up, man. So give me
There's
more
always
of that.
going to be a split populace on that, though, because like I like games that you can finish the story in 20, 30 hours.
Yep.
Or you can do whatever you want forever.
Yeah.
I like games that don't really have an ending. Like...
You like a balance though, right? I like going back and forth between those games. Like I just finished Starfield, which is a long game, and now I'm going to something like Mirage, and that's a nice feeling that I can finish this game or even a couple of games, and then I'll go back into Cyberpunk, which is 100 plus whatever hours,
You see, I won't play the short games generally though. I won't play because I get really immersed into them and I dig into them. It's if I don't want to play a longer game, or I can't be bothered jumping into story. Yeah. Because let's be honest, like you jump into a game, sometimes I just cannot be asked for story. I don't want to know who you are or why you're in front of me. I just want you to point me at something so I can kill it. Like that's it. That's all I need right now.
Fair.
And I need some new shiny trinkets to get me stronger.
Yeah.
they're my roguelikes. That's why I like roguelikes. That's why I like Caves of Cud. That's why I like Noita. That's why I like, I don't know, all those sort of games like Rogue Legacy 2, Stone Shard, all these games, because Backpack Hero, like, dude, because you jump in and realistically you could go forever. You can become near godlike, unkillable. Chances are you're about to die in 30 minutes, right? So, and with these roguelikes, there's generally never background or lore or stories. It's just you get in, you're in a dungeon for some sort. Let's see how deep you can go. And you just go and go and go. And then kind of the lore unveils around you. That's what I've always loved about the Dark Souls series. It's like they don't smash you with lore out of the gate. You kind of put it together as you're going along. And I love that approach.
Yeah. I do like that approach, but sometimes, like, I am a lore fanatic. I like it when it's not too much, but when it's part of the main story and it naturally plays out and it tells you the key things that you need to know. That's what I love. When I play games like Dark Souls or Elden Ring, it doesn't matter how much I read. It doesn't matter all the lore that I try and discover. The only way that I'm going to be able to understand it all is watching a YouTuber summarizing it for me. Like, if I want to understand Dark Souls or Elden Ring, I have to watch Vardy video. That is the only way. And it's not a bad thing, but that's just the way the games are.
But then it makes all your experiences in game suddenly come together like a jigsaw puzzle.
I agree. You're right.
It's because I'll listen to one of those YouTubes, and you should though, because like that's just how history's put together. Yeah. But then, as well as like, let's be honest, like Dark Souls try to hide their lore. It's crazy. But you be going around and then you'll see something that you know has been there since the test of time, or some sacred relic or sacred statue or something like that. And it's just cool. Adds another layer. You know what game I am interested in, Johnny? I wonder if we can get codes for it.
Go on.
Right? I say that to you now, hoping you can
as a hint. All right, let me know who to email.
Lies of P. I want to play that game.
Hold on.
I want to play Lies of P. All right?
Isn't that out already?
It is, but I just want a code.
Okay, so Lies of P, I'm pretty sure is on Game Pass right now. I'm pretty sure it is.
Is it?
I don't.
My son uses Game Pass.
I genuinely think it's on Game Pass. Someone correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lies of P is on Game Pass. There you go, Rob. You can play the game.
Yeah, but I only play my games through Steam, bro.
Fair enough. Then I'll say, who would I need to?
Because my son uses my Game Pass. Like,
I will need to. I don't know who the hell. So it's NeoWiz Games and Round 8 Studio. I have genuinely no idea who does that in Australia.
Because I want to play a Pinocchio that claps, dude. I've decided. That's what I want to do. I want to go around smacking puppets around.
That's like the best way you could have described that game.
Dude, that's what it is. Pinocchio going around punching on.
I will try and find out.
I just sold that game to all our listeners. You don't need to know anything else. What it is. Pinocchio, mechanical hand, and you go around smacking other puppets, dude.
Yeah. Pinocchio in a Souls-like game. That is literally all you need to know about Lies of P.
Yeah, dude.
If I can't find the publisher or the developer in Australia, then you might just have to play it on Game Pass, which you have access to. You could just download the Xbox.
I'll just
PC
support
Game
the developers and purchase it like a good wholesome man. That
I'm proud of you.
You know, I am big on support the developers. Like,
for sure.
I think people should. I really like indie games. I think you should support developers. Yeah. Just because it's just showing respect.
Yeah.
Like indie titles that bring out like skin packs and people whinge and bitch at the skin packs. It's like, bro, it's $5.
Yeah.
Like, don't get a coffee one day.
Yeah.
You know, just support the developers.
I think,
and if you can't afford it, then don't buy the skins. We understand. Yeah. Don't leave a dirty comment, but
indie developers in particular, because yes, there are a few that are breakout hits and they've become fairly, well off because of them. But most of the indie developers are very, very small teams, if not solo teams. They're not rolling in money. They're trying to make ends meet like any other person out there. So I agree. Buy a skin pack or don't complain about it. I think it's totally fine, because the thing that I need to keep in mind as well when it comes to especially indie games, oftentimes like a lot of people are buying them because they're on sale and they're obviously not getting as much as of the purchase price from that compared to a full price sale. So yeah, they do kind of rely on the in-game purchases. So if it's a simple
Definitely.
skin, who the hell cares? I agree.
And indie games are great, dude, because like I feel like sometimes, have you ever been sitting down at your computer and you're like, you don't know what game to play, and you're like, man, I want to play a game that is fantasy, but it's open world, but there's cars, and I can date chicks in it. And dude, some guys like had the same thought. He's like, you know what? Screw it, I'll make it myself. Dude,
so true.
it's great, man. You can find the most random stuff, but it scratches every one of your itches. It's a weird world.
That is hilarious. Oh man. But I haven't been watching anything, by the way. Just been playing those games. Have you been watching anything or reading anything?
Mate, I finished. I didn't even realize I finished. What's it called? It's called Mushoku Tensei, Jobless Reincarnation. It's the second season of it. I finished it last week technically because this week I came back and I was so excited, but then it said watch again season 2 ep 12, and I know most seasons have only 12 eps, and I was gutted for
12 is a short season. I hate those, I'll be real.
It's a good one, but the first one was longer. It was a good series, but I highly recommend.
Oh yeah.
But honestly, there's not a lot of things I'm watching at the moment that pique my interest. The one thing I do want to go back into and rewatch season 1 of, so I can watch season 2, because I haven't seen season 2 because there was too big of a gap between season 1 and season 2. Don't remember what was going on. Is Shield Hero.
Okay. Is that one you recommend?
It's called Shield, The Rising of the Shield Hero. It's great. It's a great anime. Great anime. About a dude who just gets the short end of the stick consistently. And you know what? He decides he doesn't need the stick anyway.
Dude, this dude looks literally exactly like the character off of Black Clover. Is like literally the exact same. This is kind of crazy. Hold on.
They all look the same.
No,
bro.
I know Rob, I know to an extent that they do.
Look the same.
But this guy, I want to send you after this like a comparison of the two. These two characters are like they're the same dude. They're the same dude. Oh man. Anyway, I haven't been watching any anime at all. But that's pretty much it of what we're watching, playing, and reading. The last segment of the podcast is viewer questions. If you want us to answer your questions, as always, let us know in the comments below. Even if we don't get to your question in the episode, directly after, sometimes we do go back to older episodes too to find questions that were asked. So please let us know your questions in the comments below.
A lot of the times I read through the comments before this episode, before we film these episodes, just to get a gauge on what's going on, as well as sometimes I see questions that have been written in, and I talk about them in the podcast almost seamlessly, like it was my idea, but it wasn't.
Like you just talked about Liza P, because there absolutely was a question about Liza P.
Oh,
Clever.
I'm a smart man. Let's do this.
But yeah, genuinely, we do read every question that you leave, like every comment, every question. Read every single one of them, even if we might not respond. So please do let us know your questions in the comments below. The first one we have is from Dunham, who's asking, question for both. You are allowed to implement one change to try and fix the judging in MMA. What is that change? This came after the Shevchenko fight, I believe. Yeah. Rob, one change?
I reckon same response I had last week, Johnny. Go back to Pride rules. Like 2 10-minute rounds. Okay. Nobody gets a finish. You call it a draw.
Can I ask you, if you were to fight with Pride rules, do you think you would prefer that as a fighter versus the way it is now?
Dude.
Why is that?
Dude.
Why do you say that?
No one's getting out of 10 minutes with me. No one. No one at all. No way.
Fair. But is that's going to fix judging? All problems gone.
Hey,
that's going to fix judging.
Because you don't need the judges.
True.
Like, but all. Just get rid of them.
Yeah, true.
Get rid of them altogether.
But I know you say that not many of them will end up in draws, but there will be a few that end up in draws, right?
Yeah, but then it's a draw.
I guess.
Like, that's just the rules of the game. If there's no finish, it's a draw.
Yeah. Look, I agree that there are a lot of problems with judging. I know that now they're doing that whole 10-8 training. I don't know how that went. I just don't know if such a drastic change, one, is ever going to happen, but two, is actually the right call right now. I would need to think on that for my answer. But the next question we have is from Abusive, who says, love the channel and podcast. Not sure if either of you have watched this anime, but if you haven't, you definitely should. It's called Bungo Stray Dogs, and I think you would really like it. Right now, it's in season 5. Each season has about 12 episodes. Coincidentally, 12 episodes. By the end of season 2, I was hooked. It's animated by Studio Bones, same studio as My Hero Academia. I mean, that piques my interest. Mm-hmm. Rob, I know you've watched this one. What do you think of it?
Well, much like My Hero Academia, I got sick of the amount of characters they were focusing on. I don't really like it when they stray out and they have too many main characters. I just can't find it in myself to care about all of them. You know, I've done animes where there's 2 main characters or 3 even, like Samurai Champloo.
Yeah,
you saw that recently.
Yeah,
like that's phenomenal, and I cared about all of them. But more than 3, come on, bro.
I mean, you have a soft spot for Black Clover. I know that, and that has the ridiculous amount of characters.
What do you mean a soft spot for Black Clover? I've never even watched it.
You said you liked No, you've watched Black Clover. You were like, I love the theme song and stuff.
I've watched the first episode where the dude would he's always, swear to God on my kids, I love the theme songs. Okay,
and I was like, surely you've watched more than one episode.
No. But the dude was just all over that chick. He was just screaming a lot.
Yeah.
The other guy was just a edgelord that I cannot get over. Like annoyed the hell out of me. Yeah, like
by the
way,
way,
it was just like a Naruto. It was Naruto Sasuke all over again.
Yeah, I get it.
And I hated those two as well. Annoying kids.
I see where you're coming from about the too many characters, because speaking of Black Clover in the movie, they had so many very, very strong characters that they had to think of like plot points to put away some of these characters so other people could actually shine when they versed the main bosses. So yes, like there is a limit to, I think, like, I don't know. Would you put a hard number on it, on how many main characters there should be?
And like Jujutsu, what is it?
Jujutsu Kaisen.
Jujutsu Kaisen, that's starting to stray out again. Bleach did the same thing. It's like they start to get success, and they're like, well, the only way to drag this out is to have 70 more characters.
I know you're saying, hold on,
crappy episodes.
I know you're saying that about Jujutsu Kaisen because they've done the episodes which are essentially the prequel explaining 2 of the main guys, right? But
I can't even get through it.
Yeah, but Jujutsu Kaisen
episode 3, and we're still in a flashback.
It's because of the movie, Rob. There's a reason.
How much time do you think I have? How much time do you think I have?
There's a reason.
3 episodes in, and I'm still in a flashback.
It's context.
Just smack you.
It's important.
Let's just smack you. It's only going to be like a 12-episode season. Like a third of it is flashback. Like, I don't have time for this. And everyone in the comments agrees with me. They know. They don't have time for it either.
I don't know about that. I think Jujutsu Kaisen pretty good.
Let me know. Support me. No, they're all on the black suit. Like, the first season was good, especially when he was, like, tussling with the Demon King, and it was about him.
100%.
And things were going down. And then they showed that there was a power level much higher than where they're at. So they gave the main character room to grow and a reason to get there. Mm-hmm. And then they hit me with a 3-episode flashback. Nah, dude.
It's because you didn't watch the movie. I'm just going to say it.
I shouldn't have to watch the movie.
Oh, absolutely. I actually prefer when movies have a tie-in with the series.
You see, Bleach burnt me out with the movies because they started throwing them in whenever they wanted to. No. Don't go throwing movies in and not telling me the movies are there.
But if you're in the know, you should know, right? If I don't like, and Dragon Ball did this, as much as I love that freaking franchise, random movies that don't mean anything at all, aside from the last one and the last few actually, because they actually did matter. I don't like movies that just don't have any contribution to the main plot.
If the movie's not on, yeah, exactly.
What? It's not on Crunchyroll?
Oh, it is on Crunchyroll.
Yes!
Hour 44 minutes.
Watch it, bro. I'm telling you it's good. I'm telling you it's good.
It's under the it's labeled season 44, Jujutsu Kaisen 0.
Because Crunchyroll does not know how to label shit sometimes. They really don't.
They are freaking hopeless.
They're horrible, right? They have 10 different languages, and for some reason, they're all split up in different numbered seasons. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Anyways, next question is from iTube Your Age. I think that's how you say your name. I don't know anymore. Question for Rob and Jonny. If you had to choose, would you choose performance mode, 60 frames per second, 1080p, or graphics mode, 30 frames per second, 4K? Rob, what's your choice?
It depends what game we're playing.
It's a good question.
Actually.
Yeah.
Because like if I'm playing a 2D game,
yeah,
graphics don't matter that much there.
Let's say you're playing, I don't know, God of War, like single player, story focused game.
Nah, performance mode for sure. It's always
wow. I thought you would have said 4K 30. Okay, interesting.
Nah, because like if you've ever played a game that lags or the input delays are a bit slow, it just pisses me off.
Yeah, I said this in the last episode. For me, what matters most is consistency. I don't care if it's 30. I don't care if it's 60. If you go in between those very fast, then you notice it, and then it just looks like crap, right? Like if you're playing a game with 60 and it suddenly drops to 30, you're like, what is this slideshow nonsense that I'm playing right now? But if it's 30 the whole time, like it is on the Nintendo Switch, then I'm totally cool with that. And most games that you play, Rob, if they're indie, like I'm sure a lot of them are also playing at 30 frames per second if you're playing on Switch or whatever. But you don't really play the Switch anymore.
Computer.
Yeah.
Nah, I don't even know where it is. It's dock's there. It got taken by one of my kids and it's never come back.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Switch 2 or whatever they're doing. I need an upgrade with that. I'm very tempted to buy the ROG Ally. I'm very tempted. I'm like about to click purchase on it. Anyways, next question is from Connor Fowler. Do you have any superstitions or rituals you go through before you take on a challenge? And Rob, I think this was more towards you in fighting, for instance.
I just do much the same every other time I go through a comp or a thing. I just do the same things, focus, have a ton of coffee, try to get into a good headspace before I get in there, and then let Jesus take the wheel, sort of thing. Yeah.
So it's probably not to the stage where it's like a formal ritual for you, but you just like a bit of consistency.
I just consistency. Don't broke and fix it.
And the last question, and I'm glad we are asking this one because the question was super fascinating. Callie B asks, what was it like, Rob, not playing any video games for 6 weeks while on the Ultimate Fighter?
It was torture, dead torture. And it wasn't just the lack of video games. It was a lack of all entertainment. In the Ultimate Fighter house, they don't let you, well, for me anyway, they didn't let you have TV, they didn't let you have books, they didn't let you have video games, no outside communication. It was just, and obviously the whole time you're dieting, trying to cut weight to make weights for fights, and you're living with 12 other dudes that want to punch on with you. Even your own teammates, you may have to end up punching on with. It's just a recipe for disaster. Like they try to make it as uncomfortable and put you on edge as much as they can, try and get the best television out of you. I hate it.
I kind of get it. Like for those of you, I want to drop a random piece of knowledge, and some of you in Australia would know what this is. So my brother was actually on Big Brother, right? One of the seasons, a couple seasons back. Same thing. And it's just, I don't know. I don't know if I could, and obviously you did it for a reason, Rob, but I don't know if I could submit myself to such torture with literally no communication with the outside world. I remember watching this video of one of the Big Brother shows, I think it was in the UK, of them being told COVID was a thing. And they're like, what the hell? Global pandemic. They just had no idea, because how else would you know? It just, it's dystopian to me. It's crazy.
It's a weird place to be, for that amount of time. It's weird. And it was not fun. It was not fun at all.
I want to ask you a question to end this off. Like, let's say you were going back into the Ultimate Fighter house and you only had one form of entertainment, books, movies, games. What are you choosing to keep you company? Really?
Books. Easily. Books. Yeah, definitely.
Wow. All right.
Books. Yeah. Books are... Yeah, books. Easily.
You didn't even hesitate on that. You're like, yeah, books.
No.
Books, mate.
Books are the gateway to everything, man. Like,
True.
they can be anything you're craving. You can immerse yourself into any character you want, depending on the type of book you want to read.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, and there's so many of them.
Yeah.
You know, you'll never, there's been so many times I'm sitting at the computer and I don't know what to play. That's never happened with, now, to be fair, I have been points where I don't know what to read either, but that's because I'm not looking hard enough. All right, it's there. It'd be books. Okay, I'm butchering my own reasoning.
It's funny that you mentioned that. I was thinking about this the other day about, and obviously it's a very, very well-known book, obviously, Lord of the Rings, but how much influence that book and then eventually the movies had on like all kinds of video games that deal with fantasy, like high fantasy and RPGs, Elder Scrolls, like all of them get influence and inspiration from Lord of the Rings. And I'm sure that is like just one example of books being the foundation for a lot of entertainment that we enjoy today.
I found Lord of the Rings a hard read.
But you've read it.
Yeah. Fair. The scene, like Frodo and Sam crossing Mordor took forever. And again, they're not even the most interesting characters. I don't care about what two hobbits are doing. Like,
no, they're not. You're right.
No, when Aragorn's preparing the armies of Osgiliath, Minas Tirith or whatever, you know, like it's nobody cares about the two hobbits walking around some mountains hiding from things, and one dude freaking out, going crazy, and little Gollum dude trying to steal stuff. Like, it took forever.
I love those movies so much. I need to go back and rewatch them. But Rob, that is it. Hopefully, touch wood, no error messages so far. That is episode 21 of the MMArcade podcast. Hopefully, I think the idea is we try and get back either on the Monday night and record a podcast for them. But if we ever do miss Monday, it seems like Wednesday night is the next best night for both of us, because we can start a little bit earlier and I can get them out like 10:30 Sydney time. But yeah, man, episode 21 in the books.
Episode 21. That's us. Thank you all to all our fans and listeners and viewers. Thank you very much for supporting us. Please leave a comment down below. It helps. But also share it. Tell your friends. Like it. Do all the other jazz that you do with these sort of things. Yell it from the windows, okay, until we become a mega big money sponsored podcast. Yeah. And I can get the glowy lights at the back.
One thing I would love, big. My dream, Rob, is for us to actually have a studio, like our own custom built one. But that is a pipe dream. We'll get to it maybe in the future. Subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Absolutely. Take care, guys.